Shalom. Welcome back. Today we are continuing with our ancient study in the Triennial Torah cycle. We pick up with Genesis chapter 35, verse 9, in a Torah portion, most probably called Vayera Elohim el Yaakov. Then God appeared unto Jacob. So let's get rolling. Adonai Adonenu ma'adir shimcha, ken yehi ratzon, ki anachnu yochelim lilmod tov be'einecha bayom hazeh. Tishlach na et orchacha aleinu Abba, ki anachnu רוצים לראות את פניך. וכתמיד לא לנו לעולם ולך יחיה כל הכבוד. All right, here we go. Let's read it. Vayera Elohim el Yaakov od bevoo mipadan aram vevarech oto vayera. So what's happening here? This is actually the verb ra'ah, resh, aleph, hey. And what has happened is the final hey has gone away. That's what often happens with those kind of verbs. When they end in a hey, that hey disappears. So the verbal root is resh, aleph, hey, to see. But this is a nifal, meaning it's usually passive. So the yod at the beginning, he, for Hashem, for God, he, yera, means he will be seen. And we have got the vav conversive just in front of that special vav there, which makes it be perfect. So va yera Elohim. Then God was seen, which is how Hebrew explains appeared. So then God appeared, El, Aleph Lamed, unto Yaakov. Lord, again. Oh, that's a construct infinitive. So the bait, literally in, bo, the coming of him. So that just means when he came or when he arrived. Mip padan. So that's actually min padan. It's a little hard to see because the noon has assimilated into the pay there. There's a dalet. So min became mip padan aram, from that place, padan aram. Vayevarech, and he blessed oto, him. So we have the definite direct object marker, the et, with the o at the end. That's how we get him from that. And he blessed. Yevarech means he will bless or he is blessing. That is an imperfect, an incompleted action. But the vav conversive here changes that to make it perfect. So vayevarech, then he blessed him. All right. Let's go ahead and read that part from the Leningrad Codex, the 1,000-year-old Codex. Vayera Elohim el Yaakov od bevo'o mip padan aram. Vayevarech oto, and he blessed him. Sometimes God accepts the proposals of his servants. In what's coming up here, he accepts the name change suggested by Esau's guardian angel. And I actually should have marked that for the next verse, but that's okay. We'll give a little preview of what's coming up. Verse 10. Vayomer lo Elohim shimcha Yaakov lo yikare shimcha od Yaakov, ki im Yisrael yichye shemecha le'ikra et shemo Yisrael. Okay. Vayomer. Then he, then he, Amad. He said, Lo. The Lamed is 2, and the O is him. He said to him. Who said to him? Elohim. So the subject is way over there afterwards, right? We got our subject, Elohim. That's the subject of the verb. Right? Vayom Elo Elohim. Then God said to him, Shemcha. That's the Shemcha, the name, the shame of Cha, of you. If you're new to this and you're wondering what is up with all these tones, these like talking in falsetto and such, and the colors, well, here at Hebrew Literacy, this is how we do directed Hebrew immersion. Not always with the full colors and the full tones, but sometimes. There's a legend that you'll find if you attend my class on Tuesday. You'll see that. And we also have auditory classes on Monday, and kind of maybe an intermediate level where we try to do an original graphic novel with biblical Hebrew on it on Wednesdays. And on Thursday, we get deep into Koheleth. And on Friday is Isaiah Dominance. So if you want the full experience of the full, deep, colorized, and auditory learning, that's the book of Exodus on Tuesdays. Okay? But even if it's new to you, you should be learning something already. Your mind should be starting to put together the patterns so that you can understand. It's not so important to know all the grammatical terms for everything as it is for your mind to recognize patterns, to kind of start feeling familiar with the language and what is going on with it. All right, let's continue. Yaakov. Vayom alo Elohim Shimcha. And he said to him, God, Shimcha, your name, Yaakov, Jacob. Lo, not Yik-Kare. Why is there a dagesh in the kuf there? What's going on? Why is there a dagesh? Well, what's happening is that in ancient times, before the Bible was written down, this would have said, well, here, let me write it. Let me fully write it out. It would have said, here, to the kuf and the reish and the aleph. Kara is to call, right? Kara is to call. And we would have had a noon at the front. Noon being added to a verbal stem is characteristic of the nifal. The nifal, that is like the passive, right? That's the difference between, if you have something active, I hit a ball, you're actively hitting the ball. But if you say the ball was hit, now it's passive, right? So nikra would mean is called. Instead of kara, called, is called. And when we put that yod in the front, that became yinkra. But over time, people don't like to say the noons when they're sandwiched in like that. Over time, that noon is going to assimilate inside the kuf. And that's what's happening there. That's why you get yik-kare. There's 2 kufs instead of 1. The noon was a copycat. Lo, not yik-kare. Not he will be called. Okay, who's the he? Well, the subject is again right afterwards. Here's the subject. The name of you, Shemcha. Your name. Name of you, your name, Shemcha. Lo yikare Shemcha. Your name will no longer be called. Well, will not be called Lord, and that's the longer anymore. Lord means still or longer, like more. Yaakov. Ki. But. Ki im. But instead. Literally, for if. But instead. Yisrael. Yichyeh. This is from the verb haya. Haya is to be. Haya o lo haya. Actually, be yichyeh o lo yichyeh. To be or not to be. But yichyeh, it will be. What will be? Shemecha. The name of you. Your name will be. So Yisrael Yichyeh Shemecha. Israel, your name will be. Vayikra et Shemo Yisrael. So he called, that's the Yod, he, remember he called et, we don't translate, Shemo, the name of, his name, Yisrael. Okay? And so let's review my comment again. Sometimes God accepts the proposals of his servants. In this case, the name change suggested by Esau's guardian angel, right? The angel is the one who called our ancestor Yisrael. It wasn't God. The angel did. And then God later affirms it. Here he's affirming it. He's like, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. Let's make our note here is better. Your name will be Yisrael. Why? Because he yasas with El. He wrestled with angel or with divine beings. El can mean an angel. Okay? Doesn't mean he wrestled with God. Okay? And by the way, shout out to Lee. Lee loves the Dead Sea Scrolls, and he's got a lot of knowledge about them. And he shared with us from the Book of Divisions, which may or may not be Jubilees, referred to by the Dead Sea Scrolls. And it just came to mind. I remember you shared that in there it said that it really was God with whom he wrestled. And I just was realizing something. Lee, let me know. Were you looking at the original Hebrew, or were you looking at a translation when you shared that with us last time or 2 times ago? Because if it's a translation, well, especially an older translation, like one of the old public domain ones, those guys tended to translate Elohim or El more than often as God, even though it doesn't have to be. So just for your consideration, that might be interesting to find out. If you could check for that, sir. All right. Now let's read 10 in the Codex. Vayomer lo Elohim, Shimcha Yaakov lo yikarei Shimcha od Yaakov. Ki im Yisrael yichyeh shemecha. Vayikra et Shemo Yisrael. He called his name Israel. Verse 11. Vayomer lo Elohim, ani el Shaddai, Pereh, Raveh, Goy, Ukehal Goyim Yichyeh Mimeka, Melachim, Mechalatzecha Yetzeu. Vayomer. What's that? Say it before I do if you can, or at least think it. It was proven by the linguist Pimsleur that when you repeat vocabulary words at certain expanding intervals and you try to recall it before you're told what it is by a teacher, you will lock it in and remember the word better, or the phrase or whatever. So, Vayomer. Then he said, Lo, to him. And here we go. Here's the subject. Why is the subject way over here? Why? Why not just put it right after the verb? Well, what's happening is, when you have a very little word, like lo, the style in biblical Hebrew, especially in the Torah, is very often to insert that between the verb and the subject, just to insert it in there, especially if it's what we would call the indirect object, as it is here. So, Vayomer lo Elohim, then said to him God. But you shouldn't render it that way. Just say, then God said to him. Literally, then he said to him, Elohim, God. Now, how do you know this is God here? And not like angels? Well, Elohim is a plural. So that's true. It could mean angels. Malachim, it could mean angels. But the verb is singular. If it said Vayomeru lo Elohim, then it would mean, then they said to him, gods. Okay, we know there's not multiple gods, so it must be angels, right? Or spirits, you could say, like spirits said to him. Sorry, folks, I pressed something that wiped out my annotations, but hopefully you got them. So vayomer, that's a singular verb. Then he said, lo, to him, Elohim, God, ani, I, and then Hebrew often will not say the word am. It's not like the Jewish Greek, ego eme on, it'll actually add that in there. El, God, El, or El, God of Shaddai, sufficiency. I am God of sufficiency, or El Shaddai. Many of you know this title as God Almighty. Why do you think it's God Almighty? Well, what happens is it comes to us through the Septuagint as Panto Krator. Panto means all or everything, like kol in Hebrew. And Krator is like strength or power, right? So God Almighty comes to us actually from the Greek rendering of the Hebrew El Shaddai. In all likely, it's Shaddai related to Shad, like a woman's breast, meaning like sufficiency or providing. So the God who provides, which makes sense because that is how Yaakov Avinu originally pleaded with him that he would provide for him his clothes and his food and such, right? That he could survive. And indeed, God did prove to be El Shaddai. I'm enjoying a Shabbat oat milk with coffee mixed into it. And that's it. It's really nice, though. Oh, a little bit of cinnamon. I added some cinnamon, right? Okay. Pere. So this is an odd way to put it, but it's usually we would see Peru, right? So that it ends in the hey is a bit strange. Pere. It's probably a dialectical use of the emphatic K, but anyway, we won't get into all that. Pere. Usually we see Peru, so this is going to be a singular command. Pere. Be fruitful. And breve. And be numerous. Not that odd, because those are Lamed Hey verbs. Sorry, not da. Goy, a nation. And Kehal Goyim, an assembly of nations, or a congregation of nations. Yichyeh will be Mimeka. So that's min, right? Min. And the noon went inside. Min Mecca, from Mimeka. And the ka is you. So from you. Umelachim, and melechs, kings, not rulers. I hate it when it's the blessings are translated ruler of the universe, like trying to kind of neuter God. Melech means king. If you wanted to say queen, you can, malka. So those kind of reform translations. Blessed are you, ruler of the universe. That would be Moshel, would be the ruler. Melech is king. Or if you want to be hyper literal and derive the word as if we didn't have such a word in English, you could say reigner, I suppose. May. So again, this is min. Again, min. Oops, wrong color. Min. And the noon could not go inside of the hay because hay can't be doubled. So instead we added a dot there. You see that? Should have left it red. So me became may. May from chalatzecha, the loins of you. Yetzeu. They will come forth. All right, let's read 11 from the Codex. Vayomer lo Elohim. Actually, Vayomer lo Elohim. Ani El Shaddai, God of sufficiency. Pere, be fruitful. Ureve, and be numerous, become numerous. Goy, a nation. And Kehal Goyim, an assembly of nations. Yichyeh will be Mimeka, from you. Umelachim, and kings. May, from chalatzecha, from the loins of you. Yetzeu, they will come forth. All right, let's check out the notes now we have. So verse 1, Vayivarech oto, and he blessed him when God blessed him. Oh, okay, I shared that with you already, didn't I? Okay, sorry. Vayikra et shmo Yisrael, then he called him Israel. From Augustine's City of God, he comments that Jacob's second encounter at Bethel shows that God confirms his promises at critical turning points in life. We have a struggle, we have something going on, and you know that God has promised you something. That's the time to hold on to it and to watch out for it from afar. Watch it. The Psalms phrase it as you go up to a high tower, a high watchtower, and you watch for it to come. You watch for the things which you prayed for to come with expectation. There are things in my life, I remember when I prayed so hard for something, but I wasn't really expecting it, and I missed it. Only later I realized, oh my gosh, the exact same thing I prayed for happened. But I'd stopped watching for it. El Shaddai, verse 11, with regard to God being introducing himself here as El Shaddai, God of sufficiency. Ibn Ezra comments that Ani El Shaddai emphasizes fertility and abundance, reminding Jacob that the covenant is about life and continuity. All right, let's just finish up this one by reading through the codex real quickly with no tones or anything. And I don't think I'll move my mouse either. Okay, I'm just going to... Oh, fine, I'll move it. I'll mark per column. How about that? Per column. Per row, rather. Vayera Elohim el Yaakov od bevo'o mipadan aram vevarech oto. Verse 10. Vayomer lo Elohim Shimcha Yaakov lo yikarei Shimcha od Yaakov ki im Yisrael yihyeh shemecha vayikra et shemo Yisrael. Verse 11. Vayomer lo Elohim ani El Shaddai perei urevei goy ukehal goyim yihyeh mimeka umelachim mechalatzecha yetzeu. Genesis chapter 35, verse 12. Let's scan it. Ved haaretz asher natati leAvraham ulitzchak lecha etenena uleza'acha acharecha eten et haaretz. Ve'et haaretz, now the land asher which natati I have given leAvraham, to that guy, and le to Yitzchak, lecha, to you, etenena, I will natan her, I will give it. This was natan. The noon slipped in there and doubled the tav. So natan, we know natan, right? Give. And le to zaracha. That's the zera, the seed of cha, of you. Acharecha, after you. Etain. Again, it's en tain. The noon went inside the tav. En tain became et tain. I will give. I will natan. Et haaretz. The eretz, the land. Although many people think, oh, Zionists, they want to take over the world. I guess we could justify it here. Eretz can be translated as world, but we know the land that was sworn to Abraham. He didn't walk over the whole world, so you could disprove that. All right, let's read it from the Codex now. Ve'et haaretz asher natati leAvraham uleYitzchak lecha etenena uleza'acha acharecha etain et haaretz. Verse 14. Oh, 13, sorry. Vayal me'alayv Elohim במקום אשר דיבר איתו. ויעל. So this is from the verb ya'ala. Ayin lamed hey. And the hey went away. Ya'ala is to go up, to ascend. Ya'ala became ya'al. He is going up, or he will go up. The vav knocks it out and makes it perfect. Vaya'al. Then he went up. May, well, that's again min. May, from, alive, with him. Elohim. There's our subject again. Elohim is part of the verb, the subject of the verb, rather. Then God went up from with him. Ba makom. Ba, in, this is ha, right? We have the definite article. Remember the article is ha. So it likes to point itself that way. And then whatever word you have, so it doesn't really matter as long as the first letter in the word can take a dagesh. That dagesh goes on the inside. This is because the ancient word for thee before Bible times was hal. Hal. And I think this shows up, I think I've seen it in one place in Scripture, maybe two, where hal actually survived. It was kind of exciting when I saw it. And I checked the commentaries and nobody cared to mention it. So I thought that was pretty cool, though. So the bait, the b, that is in, and then the hey has been wiped out. So the hey just kind of goes away, and we are just left with the patach, that's that horizontal dot, and the dagesh. You see? There they are. That tells us it's the. So the bait is in, and then the the makom, in the place. Asher, where, diber, he spoke, it. Here it's with, it's not the DDO, it's with him. The place where he spoke with him. Okay, let's read it from the Codex. Vaya'al me'alayv Elohim ba'makom asher diber ito. Okay. Verse 14. Vayatsev Yaakov matzeva b'makom asher diber ito matzevet aven vayasech aleha nesech vayitzok aleha shamen. Okay. Vayatsev Yaakov. Okay, so the verbal root here is natsav. Natsav. Noon. Tzadi. Beit. And we're in a hefil binyan, a hefil verbal stem, which tells us it's causative, right? So natsav means like to take a stand, right? But if it's causative, it's like to put in place or to erect, right? So we have vaya, and then the noon embedded itself inside the tzadi. Right? He likes to do that, doesn't he? So vayan tsev became vayatz tsev. Yaakov. So Yaakov assembled, put in place, erected a matzeva, a memorial stone. Bamakom, in the place. Asher, where. Asher is the relative pronoun. It can mean who, which, and then other things too, like where, when, such or that. So in this case, where feels right to me. Where diber ito, spoke with him. Where he spoke with him. Okay. Da matzevet aven. Now with matzeva, there's a dagesh in there you can see. See the dagesh? Right there. That's because, it came from natsav. It's from the same root. So man tseva became a matz tseva, right, in the noon assimilated. So same thing here, where we're at now. Man tseva. Matzevet is the construct form of this. So matzeva is a memorial stone or a memorial pillar. Matzevet is a memorial pillar of Avin. That is just the word Evan. But the vowels changed because of the accent mark. A memorial stone, or a memorial pillar of stone. Vayasech. So this is from the verb nasach. Nasach. And again, the nun assimilated, it's inside. Vayanesech. Nasach means to pour out. Right? So he poured out, or he caused to pour out literally, which could mean he had a servant do it, but I'm pretty sure he did it himself. Aleha, upon her. And the reason it's a her is because even though you cannot tell, the word stone, Evan, is feminine. Well, as is the matzeva, so I guess matzeva's, both of those are feminine. So we'll just go with the matzevet, Avin. But Evan is also feminine. He poured out upon her, upon it, nesech. Nesech is a libation, or a drink offering. You can tell it's from the same verb, from nasach. Vayitzok, and he mazeled, in Yiddish, he mazeled, he smeared, aleha, upon it. Shemen becomes shaman. It can also just be anointed. He anointed it with oil. Right? It's a synonym to mashach. Vayitzok aleha. And that's what we call a pei yod verb. It begins with yod. Yod. Technically, the yod disappeared, as it often does when we introduce the yod for he. So there'd be anyway. Yatzak is to pour. To mazel, to mashach, to anoint. Aleha, upon it, or upon her. Shemen, here shaman, because it's the last word. Oil. All right, let's read it from the Codex. Vayotsev Yaakov. Well, I do not like that yod. Look at that. It's almost a vav. It looks like a vav with a patach on it. It looks like it says Vaakov. Anyway, Yaakov. Matzeva. You know, I'm glad we have the Leningrad Codex, but the better codex really was the Aleppo Codex. It was thought to have been made by Ben Asher, the teacher, with whom this scribe who made the Leningrad Codex was associated. Although it might have been two scribes, one who did the consonants and one who added the nikodot, the vowels, and the ta'amim. But that one is neater written. It's more intelligible. It's just sad that most of the Torah was destroyed when a fire was mysteriously set to a synagogue in Aleppo, Syria. Gee, I wonder how that happened. It's a mystery. Who could do such a thing to Jews? Who would do such a thing? It's just so mysterious. By the way, I feel led to speak out against the neo-Nazi anti-Semite Nick Fuentes. I lost a Gentile friend recently who agrees with this guy that the guy who started the Holocaust was cool. This guy who I thought was a friend of mine for years, we're friends. We've been chatting back and forth. He says, well, if you take out all the killing. I'm like, really? So the hating of Jews is still, you know what I mean? Really? I mean, really? The sending your brown shirts to beat people up so that you get your people elected, that's really cool. I mean, I cannot respond to such a person. What is happening today? Conservative people are going against Israel now. People claim to be God-fearers. May God have mercy on them. And may God have mercy on you if you think Nick Fuentes is cool. But Rabbi, you shouldn't talk politics. It's not politics to call out an anti-Semite. All right? If you need video, I can share a video with the guy saying that everything that Schmittler said was right. That's what he says. He's wrong, of course, but he's not just trolling people. These are the times we're living in. And thanks to Tucker Carlson, platforming this guy. Now a lot of conservatives are platforming him and interviewing him and such. Goodness. Hashem Yerachem. Now, I wanted to go back to my comment on verse 12, which I didn't share with you yet. Sforno comments that the land promise is repeated to Jacob to show covenant continuity with Abraham and Yitzchak. Also, you will notice, those of you who are a bit more advanced in your Hebrew, that the object here is coming before the verb. And what does that show us? Like, here's our verb. Here's the verb, right? That shows emphasis. Sorry, it's hard to write vertically on the screen. Sorry if that's a bit sloppy. Emphasis. Oh, I hate how that looks. Ugh. Fine. Just leave it like that. Ve'et ha'aretz asher natati le'Avraham u'Yaakov. Pardon me, u'Yitzchak lecha etanina. Ve'et ha'aretz, and the land asher natati, which I gave. See? It's emphasizing. Usually the object comes after the verb. When it's before the verb, in prose, that indicates emphasis. And Sforno is picking up on that. He probably asked the question, why is Hashem emphasizing this first? Why not just say, Natati et ha'aretz? Right? Or va'etein et ha'aretz, with the vowel conversive. All right, verse 15. Vayikra Yaakov et Shem hamakom asher diber ito sham Elohim Bethel. Vayikra Yaakov. Then Yaakov called it the Shem Hamakom, the name of the place. And we have a construct chain here. You guys remember what happens with construct chains? If the last word in the chain is definite, and this it definitely is because it's got the definite article, meaning the, so we then can apply and we can associate that definiteness with all the words in the chain. There's only two words in this particular chain. So we say the Shem, the name of Hamakom, of the place. Asher, where, or about which. Diber ito, he spoke with him. Sham, there. Who's, now look at this. Here's our verb. And here's our subject way over here. Lots of little words snuck in there, didn't they? Well, a couple. Ito Sham, with him there. What's the place called? Beth El. House of the divine, or house of God, Beth El. Okay, let's read it in the Codex. Vayikra Yaakov et Shem Hamakom, the name of the place. Asher diber ito. I started to translate. We're not translating. Sham Elohim Beth El. Okay, let's read the whole Codex now for this page, and then we'll move on. Hold on, what's wrong here? That should have been grayed out. That part should have been grayed out. Let's fix this so it won't be confusing for people. Oh my gosh, he's removing and taking away. No. Not changing the Codex, just changing what you see. ואת הארץ אשר נתתי לאברהם וליצחק לך אתננה ולזרעך אחריך אתן את הארץ. Verse 13. ויעל מעליו אלוהים במקום אשר דיבר איתו. Verse 14. ויצב יעקב מצבה במקום אשר דיבר איתו מצבת אבן ויסך Aleha Nesech. Verse 15. Vayitzok Aleha Shaman. Verse 15. Sorry, though. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, wait. Hold on. What's happening here? Okay. See, that's a schwa, but it looked to me like a sof pasuk, like end of the verse. See? They look similar. See the scribe, he puts it all so close together. Okay, now we're on verse 50. It's still work to break it there. Vayikra Yaakov et Shem HaMakom asher diber ito sham Elohim Beit El. Beit El, he called it. Oh, I had another note, but I didn't see my marker. Okay, let's see what the note says. God's ascent after speaking teaches that revelation is momentary. It is man's duty, people's duty, to preserve the revelation through memory and ritual. That's the Ramban. And then I think I had a comment on my own here. Let's see. Oh, it's not mine. It's somebody else with a similar name. It's Jerome. Jerome says that the departure of God's presence underscores that divine visions are gifts, not possessions. It's a gift. Have you ever had phases in your life where you're wondering why God isn't revealing himself the way he did to you, say, in your youth? Maybe you're not as holy as you were in your youth. Or just maybe he doesn't have need to get you corrected on the path that he has for your mission. All right, I need to pick up the pace a little bit here. So I won't be going into as much detail and explaining linguistic things as before. But if you like that kind of stuff, please be sure to join me on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, although I don't do the Friday one live or as a premiere/drop. On each of those days, we study from the prophets. Right now it's Judges. And then we study from the Torah. Right now it's Exodus. And then we study from the prophets again. Right now it's 1 Kings, the story of Elijah. And then we study from the writings, sometimes Psalms, although recently we are in Koheleth, that's Ecclesiastes. And then on Friday, it's again from the prophets. Right now it's Isaiah, our Isaiah dominance class. So those are available to anyone who's interested and would like to participate. Some of them are free. Some of them have half of the lesson free, right? So you can at least watch half of it without, although the half is usually posted a week or more later than the paid versions. And for those of you who are supporting us, you get the full thing right away, right when we do it. Okay. Genesis chapter 35, verse 16. No! Hold on. ויסעוהו מבית אל, ויהי עוד כברת הארץ לבוא אפרתה, ותלד רחל, ותקש בלידתה. ויסעו, that's from the verb nasa, to pull up stakes. Then they traveled מבית אל, from Bethel, ויהי עוד, and it was still, or again, כדברת haaretz. Now this is kind of an odd word. It's only a few times in Scripture. We think we know what it means. It's the word. The actual word is kevara, kaf beit resh hey, and it's understood as like a stretch, like so what we have here with the kivrat haaretz, a stretch of the land. Right? The Bashita understands it in Syriac as a parasong in distance, or it might be a good stretch of land. What's interesting is there clearly is a little bit of doubt about this, because the Septuagint translators, when they put it in the Septuagint, they just wrote chabratha. So like the same thing. You see? Chabratha, do you see it? Kivrath, kavratha. That's how it is in Greek. So anyway, about a stretch of land. Some say the distance that a horse can run. All right. Lavo, coming, Ephratha, towards Ephrath. The at the end means towards. Vateled Rachel. Then Rachel yaladed, she birthed, Vatikash, but it was kasha, it was difficult. Belidta, in the birthing of her, when she was in labor, is how that's understood. And let's go ahead and read from the Codex then. Let me fix something very quickly. Thought I fixed that already, but maybe not. Just so you're not distracted and it's easier to find your place. All right. Vayis'u מבית אל, sorry. ויהי עוד כברת הארץ לבוא אפרתה. ותלד רחל ותקש בלידתה. All right. Verse 17. ויהי בהקשותה בלידתה. ותאמר לה המילדת, המילדת, אל תראי, כי גם זה לך pain. Okay. Vayhi, and it was v'hakshota. As it was difficult for her, or as the difficulty increased, it's a he-fil infinitive construct with the beit on the front and the suffix on the end. The suffix means that she's the one doing it. Belidta, as she was birthing, vatomer, that said to her, sorry, that's the law. I already translated that. Vatomer, that she said, law to her. Who said? Ham yaledet. The nurse, the, what is it, the one who helps with birth? The midwife. See the root yalad is in there, to birth? Al, don't. Tir-i. That's telling a woman, you will be afraid. So don't, you will be afraid. Don't be afraid. Ki, for, gam, ze, also this one, lach, for you is a bane, a son. Kimchi comments, Rachel's labor pains remind us that covenantal destiny is born through suffering. Yet the midwife's words, fear not, echo divine reassurance. Al tira, right, talking to a man. Al tira mi pachet pito, homu meshoat v'shayim kitavo. Utzu etzav davar velo yakum ki manu v'tzikna ani hu v'tzeva ani espo ani asiti ani esa ani espo v'amalet. If you remember the Siddur, great little bit about not fearing, taking from Tanakh, from Yeshayahu and such. Okay, let's read the Codex. Genesis 35, verse 17. Vayhi v'hakshotah belidtah v'atomer lah hamyaledet al tiri ki gam ze lach bein. Okay, so we are at 48 minutes here. I think this is a nice thought about the divine reassurance when we are suffering, that sometimes covenantal destinies are born this way. Who knows how you say destiny in biblical Hebrew? Don't just use Google Translate. Who remembers? It's a lot, like casting lots, like they cast lots for the Messiah's garments. A goral. Goral is destiny. It's like lot. We see that in English too, don't we? It's your lot in life. Anyway, we're at 49 minutes. Now I will share with you a Hebrew literacy original. And people have been asking me about my songs and such. There's a lot of stuff going on. I just want to encourage you that I am the inventor of these melodies, okay? The melodies come from my mind. And the lyrics come from my mind. And I use various tools to help fill in the stuff. Right? I used to just go to my band members years back, and I would present the melody and perhaps counter melodies which I'd created and the lyrics which I'd written down, which Hashem had given me. This isn't like some kind of ego or something, but just the era that we live in. There's a lot of stuff where people think that the person isn't perhaps doing it themselves. Yes, I use digital tools to help fill in the blanks, but I create my own melodies, all right? These are from, I believe, the Ruach Elohim stirring up creativity, all right? So, with that assurance, please enjoy this Hebrew literacy original. I may just play the one from last time because nobody I don't think anybody really listened to it. No problem. You don't have to listen. Go take a break, stretch, enjoy your Shabbat, have oneg.
The only daughter of Jacob was sweet and curious as any girl, trained up well and virtuous, beloved of her father. Then went out Dinah, Watetze Dinah, the daughter of Leah, Bat Leah, whom bore for Jacob asher yolda Yaakov, to see the daughters of the land, lirot bivnot haaretz. Oh, parents, watch your children well. The world is a dark and evil place. Men prowl, rabid dogs they wail, waiting at Musar to your life. Not as when out Dinah, then when out Dinah, Watetze Dinah, the daughter of Leah, Bat Leah, asher yolda leYaakov, to see the daughters of the land, lirot bivnot haaretz. Oh Lord, help us now to shelter all our kin. May never there be success of any threat leveled against them, and always when we go out, if any risk there be, I ask Abba to remind me of Dinah. Then went out Dinah, Watetze Dinah, the daughter of Leah, Bat Leah, whom bore for Jacob asher yolda leYaakov, to see the daughters of the land, lirot bivnot haaretz.
Hey, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you had a good oneg or stretch, bathroom break, whatever it is you needed. You are listening to Hebrew Literacy. We are now continuing in the ancient Triennial Torah portion. That's right, the tradition which is older than the yearly readings that most of our Jewish brothers and sisters do yearly, and many of the Hebrew Roots folks as well. We are continuing now with the more ancient tradition. I'm surprised this isn't just like crazily popular with Hebrew Roots, right? Because a lot of those folks, and you're welcome here, but a lot of the Hebrew Roots folks are so against tradition, right? And yet they'll do our yearly Torah readings for Shabbat. Well, why not do the older ones that are more ancient? If you want to do the one that Mashiach likely did, this is what we are doing here. The older. I mean, it's so perfect. We saw this time last, like around Pesach, right? Earlier this year, we finished the first 3.5-year cycle. And it ended right on Passover. And when did the Messiah finish his teaching of the disciples? Right at Passover, didn't he? So it's my belief that his 3-year ministry taught them the one cycle of the Torah, one ancient triennial Torah cycle. Some scholars call this the Palestinian cycle, right? as opposed to the Babylonian cycle. Nothing wrong with the yearly cycle. It's great. You want to do that. It's great if you can do both, right? To have different cycles going through, mastering, reinforcing, making sure not to forget what you've learned. I would like to eventually do that here, to do both, right? Maybe have like a morning class for beginners and then a more advanced class. I think that'd be pretty cool. All right. So let's continue where we left off. Genesis chapter 35, verse 18. Vayhi betsehet nafsha ki meta v'tikra shemo Benoni v'aviv kara lo Binyamin. Oh, that's so sad. Vayhi, and it was at or when tseit nafsha, the yatsa, the going out of her life or her soul. So when she's about to die is what that means. The yatsa, the yod is gone, right? The yod. Yatsa is the verb. The yod has disappeared. When the going out of nafsha, her life, ki that, meta, that she died, or when she was dying, you could interpret that. Vatikra, that she called Shemo, his name. Benoni, son of my suffering. Ve'aviv, but his father, thank God, karat lo, named him, literally called to him, Binyamin, son of the right, like on the right side. How important a name is. Don't give your children names of suffering. Understandable, she's in pain and she's suffering and she's dying, right? But that's not a name we want to give to our children. The father, our father, Yaakov Avinu, he recognized the importance of names. Did it say he waited a few days? No. He didn't even wait till the circumcision, right? Usually you name a Jewish child, well, if it's a boy, if he's a boy, you name him when he's circumcised, on the 8th day, right? You name him when he's circumcised. But he immediately, Ve'aviv, but his father, and this is again with emphasis. Remember, when you have a subject coming before the verb, that oftentimes is emphasizing, right? We usually use magenta to emphasize. Emphatic. It's emphatic. But his father, kara, there's the verb, called lo to him, literally named him Binyamin, son of the right. Okay, let's look at the codex. Vayhi betseit nafsha ki meta v'tikra shemo Benoni ve'aviv kara lo Binyamin. Verse 19. V'tamat Rachel, pardon me, v'tamat Rachel, kind of odd. ותיקבר בדרך אפרתה היא בית לחם ותמת Rachel. Then Rachel died. ותיקבר, so that was tin kaver, and the noon assimilated, right? So the tu is she will call. I mean, not call in this case. She will bury. But the nifal makes it passive, so she will be buried. And then we have the vav at the beginning. In this case, it's a vav conversive. Changed it. Vatik kaver. And she was buried. Be. Along or on. Da derech Ephratha. Derech, the way of, or the road of Ephratha. Ephrath. Towards Ephrat. On the way to Ephrath. He, which is, or it is, literally she is, Beth Lachem. Is from Bethlehem. Bethlehem. Surely you've seen in the news how many times the followers of the most amazing religion in the world, the second largest religion, which is so peaceful, how they like to defile Rachel's grave, some of them. Why do we give up Bethlehem? That's just insane. Anyway. All right, let's read from the Codex. Vatamat Rachel ותיקבר בדרך אפרתה. He Beth Lachem. So glad you all are here. May be blessed, even if this is difficult for you. Stick with it. I cannot tell you the joy of being able to understand what you read as you read it from the Holy Scriptures. There's nothing like it. And you can do it. I had to work through it. You can work through it too. This wasn't just given to me. I remember when I was 7, 8 years old, begging my mother for Hebrew lessons. Begging for Hebrew lessons. We didn't have that available in our small town. There wasn't even a synagogue until much later. So I had to fight for this at an older age, too. I went through what you were going through, too. Okay. Oh, right. I forgot. I'm going to read the... Did I read the whole thing? Did I read from the Codex? Oh, I just did the one line, right? I just did the one line. Okay, it starts here. Okay. Vayisa'u mi beit Elohim. Sorry, mi beit El. I saw this Elohim. See how it's so closely written? Vahi od kivrat ha'aretz lavo Ephrathah. Vateled Rachel v'tekash belidta. Verse 17. Vahi v'hakshotah belidta. Vatomer lah ham yaledet al tir'i ki gam ze lach ben. Vahi betzeet nafsha ki meta. Vatikra shemo Benoni. Ve'aviv karalo Benyamin. 19. Vatamat Rachel. Vatikaver bederech Ephrathah. He Beth Lachem. Genesis 35, verse 20. Vayatzev Yaakov matzeva al kevuratah. Hi matzevet kevurat Rachel ad hayom. Vayantzev became Vayatzev Yaakov. So Jacob erected matzeva, a memorial stone, al near kevuratah, her grave. It is the Matzevet Kevorat Rachel, the memorial stone of the grave of Rachel, Ad Hayom, until this day. Midrash Eicha Rabbah on Yirmiyahu Hanavi says Rachel's burial near Bethlehem becomes a site of prayer for exiles. Her tears are said to intercede for Israel's return. I don't believe that, but still, it's true that it's a site where many go to pray. And this is probably where I part ways from some of our traditions. I have never understood the tradition of praying at a grave or near a grave. I think it's odd, since in general we are supposed to avoid, for example, cemeteries and such, because it's human impurity from the corpse doesn't stop until the resurrection day. Doesn't stop until the day of resurrection. And it goes all the way up. I mean, there are very serious Kohens who check the flight paths of airplanes before flying somewhere because they don't want to fly over a cemetery. Yeah. Right? So, because it's more severe for them, the mitzvah is more stringent upon priests. All right. Verse 21. Lisa Yisrael Vayet Oholo Mehal'a Lemigdal Eder Vayisa Yisrael. Then Israel Nasad, he pulled up tent stakes, so he traveled. Vayet, this is a doubly weak verb. It's nata, the noon is gone and the hay's gone. And he bent or he inclined or he stretched out. Aholo, the tent of him. This is just an ancient spelling. Mehala, from there. Le, toward, or to. Da. Well, it's a name. We don't have to do that. Migdal Eder, the tower of Eder, of the flock is what that means, the tower of the flock. The Rambam comments that Jacob moves on to Migdal Eder, the tower of the flock, symbolizing that Israel must continue shepherding destiny, even after loss. This is the true move, guys. This is the way to level up. The next time something happens which provokes grief or misery, especially grief, try to plan in your mind ahead of time. Practice, imagine the scenario. Praising God. Giving Him thanks that you knew the person, let's say if someone passes. That you had them in your lives. Or a pet, or whatever it is that's causing you pain. Try to make the move to shepherd the destiny that God wants you to have in your life, to become the person you want to become. That is the leveling up move. When something really terrible happens, even if something's damaged, which you really liked a lot, right? Be positive in a way. I'm not saying to be positive in grief, right? But look at the positive in it. I'm glad it was just that thing that was damaged and not a pet or a person that was harmed, right? Or if it's a pet, I'm glad it wasn't a person. If it's a person, I'm glad I knew them. I'm glad they're in my life, right? What, you could ask yourself, how would God want me to react, to act now that this is happening? It's like Jordan Peterson says, to endeavor to be the strongest person at your at the funeral of a parent, right? The person who's helping everybody else to hold it together. That's a good teaching. That's a great teaching. Because if you can seize those moments, if you can grab onto those moments of grief and convert them into some kind of growth for yourself and growth for your family, to be a leader for your children or for your friends, for those who don't have Yeshua or those who don't have Torah Hashem in their lives. See those as opportunities. I'm not saying don't grieve. Sure, grieve, cry, etc. But seize the moment, because it will be gone before you know it. And most likely, most people will have failed. They will have blamed God. Why did you do this to me? Don't ask those questions in that way. Hollywood, every moment it gets a chance, it tries to hypnotize us, to program us subtly, to respond sinfully to God when something bad happens. I think about Lieutenant Dan. Remember the movie with Lieutenant Dan? He's up on top of the mast of the boat, screaming at God, is that the best you could do? Don't be like that. Don't be, why does this always happen? Or why did this happen? But instead, not to ask God. You can ask yourself that. Like thinking if you were somehow responsible, then that's fine. But to grow in those moments, you will become unstoppable when petty or small attacks happen to you or your family. Something beyond, or inferior, we should say, to hamavet, to death. Verse 22. Vayhi bishkon Yisrael ba'aretz hahi vayelech Reuven vayishkav et Bilha Pilegesh Aviv Vayishma Yisrael. It's kind of weird here because we have the big breakup here, but then it continues, right? So this should have been the end of the verse. So we have the Atnachta, and there's also the Siluk. And I wanted to sing the Siluk, so I'm going to do that. Yisrael. We'll translate that, and then we'll translate what should have been a verse, but is not. Vayhi, so it was, Bishkon Yisrael, when Israel was dwelling, Ba'aretz hahi, in that land, Vayelech Reuven, that Reuben went out, Vayishkav, and he laid down with Bilha, Pilegesh Aviv, the wife of his father, the secondary wife, or the concubine that's translated. I don't like that term concubine because in English it makes you think of some kind of like prostitute or something. Like a prostitute who's just dedicated to one man. That is not what the word means. It's a kind of wife. Vayishma Yisrael, and Israel heard. He heard about it. And we have the Fei. Vayihu v'nei Yaakov shnei ma'asah. And the sons of Jacob were 12, right? Plus he had one daughter, Dinah. Okay. Let's read from the Codex. Vayetzev Yaakov matzeva al kevorata. He matzevet kevorat Rachel. Ad hayom. Verse 21. Vayisa Yisrael. Vayet aholo mehala. Lemigdal Eiver. Verse 22. Vahi bishkon Yisrael ba'aretz hahi. Vayelech Reuven vayishkav et Bilha. Pilegesh aviv. Vayishma Yisrael. Vayihu v'nei Yaakov shnei ma'asah. Now in the Talmud, Tractate Shabbat, page 55, on the back side of the page, we learn Reuben's sin with Bilhah is recorded to show that even the firstborn, the Bechor, can fall. And leadership is earned by tzedek, by righteousness, by justice, not birth order. So you firstborns out there, be careful. I'm not saying you'll do something as severe as what the text, the Peshat meaning of the text, at least says Reuben did. I know our tradition is a bit different, but I'm not going to go into that now. We will leave it at the Peshat. Genesis chapter 35, verse 23. Now these are mostly names here. So I think what I will do is I'm just going to read verse 23, 24, 25, 26. And I'm not going to translate most of it, okay? I'll just translate the things that I think might not be clear to you. So, B'nei Leah, the sons of Leah, B'chol Yaakov Reuven, the firstborn of Jacob was Reuben. V'Shimon, V'Levi, V'Yehudah, or V'Yehudah, depending how you pronounce. You like to? V'Yisachar uZevulun. Verse 24. B'nei Rachel, Yosef uVinyamin. You got that? The children of Rachel. Verse 25. Uvenei Bilha, children of Bilha, Shivchat, Rachel, Dan v'Naftali. Verse 26 about Zilpah. Uvenei Zilpah, Shivchat Leah, Gad ve'Asher, Ele, B'nei Yaakov, Asher yulad lo, B'Padan Aram. Now here I do have something to share. From the Midrash Bereshit Rabbah, 84, paragraph 19, the 12 sons arise from 4 mothers, teaching that Israel's unity is forged from diversity and complexity. Right? Think about the genetic diversity it gave to our nation by having 4 different mothers. What a blessing. Verse 27. Vayavo Yaakov el Yitzchak aviv, Mamre Kiryath Arba. Hi Chevron, asher gam sham Avraham veYitzchak. Vayavo Yaakov. Then Jacob came or arrived. When Jacob arrived, El Yitzchak, to Yitzchak, Aviv, the father of him. Mamre, at Mamre, Kiryath Ha'arba, that's a place name. He, which is Chevron. Asher, which, or where, Gar Sham, sojourn there, Avraham, from the verb gur, it's a hollow verb, the vav's gone, Ve Yitzchak, and Isaac. Verse 28. Vayihu yemei Yitzchak me'at shana, U'shemonim shana. Now the days of Isaac were 100 year and 80 years, so 180 years. Let's read the Codex. One moment. B'nei Leah Bechor Yaakov Reuven, V'Shimon V'Levi, V'Yehuda, V'Yisachar. Sorry, I dragged my mouse a certain way and it changed. uZevulun. Verse 24. B'nei Rachel Yosef U'Vinyamin. 25. U'B'nei Bilha Shivchat Rachel, Dan v'Naftali. Verse 26. Uvnei Zilpa Shivchat Leah, Gad ve'Asher. Okay, and is this a new verse? Oh, same verse. Eli b'nei Yaakov, Asher yulad lo b'Padan Aram. Verse 27. Vayavo Yaakov el Yitzchak Aviv, Mamre, Kiryath Ha'arba, Hi Hebron, Asher gar sham Avraham veYitzchak. Verse 28. Vayihyu Yemei Yitzchak me'at shana u'shemonim shana. Genesis chapter 25, verse 29. Vayigva Yitzchak vayamat vayasef el amav zakenu seva yamim vayikberu oto Esau v'Yaakov banav. Vayigva Yitzchak, then Yitzchak expired. Vayamot, and he died. Vaye Asef, and he was gathered or collected el Amaiv unto his people. Zakein, old, Useva, and satisfied of Yamim days. Vayikberu, and they buried Oto, him, Esau, veYaakov, those two. Banaiv, the Banim of Iv, his sons. And we have the big paragraph marker here. Okay. All right. Chapter 36, verse 1. Ve'ele toldot Esau hu Edom. Now these are the generations of Esau. He is Edom, or known as Edom. The Rambam comments, even Esau's line is recorded, for Torah honors all descendants of Avraham, though covenantal destiny flows through Jacob. Verse 2. Esau לקח את נשיו מבנות כנען, את ערבה, בת אלון החיתי, ואת אהוליבמה, בת ענה, בת צבעון החיתי. Sorry, it keeps changing on me. Esau לקח את נשיו, took his wives, מבנות Canaan, from the daughters of Canaan. Et Adha, that's her name. Bat Elon, the daughter of Elon. Hachiti, the Hittite. Et Aholivama, and that one, her name. Bat Anna, the daughter of Anna. Bat, the daughter of Tzivon Hachiwi, the Chiwite, or the Chivite. Verse 3. Bet Bosmath. It keeps changing. Why is it doing that? Bet Bosmath, Bat Yishmael, Achot Nevayoth, and Basmath, the daughter of Ishmael, the sister of Nevayoth. Verse 4. Vateled Ava le'Esau et Eliphaz Ovosmath Yalda et Reuel ve'Arel. Vateled Ava, then Ada or Ada birthed for Esau, for him, et Eliphaz, this one, u Vasemath, and this one, Yalada, she birthed et Reuel. Let's read from the Codex. Vayigva Yitzchak vayamat vayasef el Amaiv zakein useva yamim vayikaberu oto Esau v'Yaakov banaiv. Chapter 36, verse 1. Ve'ele toledot Esau hu Edom, verse 2. Esau lakach et nashaiv mibanot Canaan et Adha bat Elon hachiti ve'et Aholivama bat Anna bat Tziv'on hachivi. Verse 3. Ve'et Bosmath bat Yishmael achot Nevayoth. Verse 4. Vateled Ava le'Esau et Eliphaz uvasemath yaleda et Reuel. Okay. Well, Rael is kind of a nice name. It means friend of God. Isn't that cool? All right. We are now in. You guys doing okay? Maybe take a stretch real quickly. Have a little stretch break. You can take like 60 seconds to stretch, huh? We have 4 more slides for the Torah. I'm not going to do the whole Torah portion. It's very long. And then I'd like to share with you the Haftarah. It's kind of cool. We'll just do a little bit on that. It won't take long. So we're almost done. Sit tight or stand tight. Stretch, move your body, get the blood flowing. I know some of these sections with a lot of genealogies can feel quite tedious at times. All right. You ready? Let's go. Va'aholivama. Oh, sorry, I'm just reading. Va'aholivama yalada et ya'ish ve'et yalam ve'et koach. Wasn't sure what to do with ya'ish because there's no vowel there. Ele b'nei Isa asher yuledu lo ve'eretz Canaan. So, or then, Aholivama Yalada birthed et Ya'ish. Ve'et Ya'alam. Ve'et Korach. Korach is a funny name. It's Baldi. Rashi, I put the Rashi up in Hebrew because the English translation I saw in Sefaria was not good. So, Korach, ze mamzer. He was a mamzer. Haya. Uven Eliphaz, and the son of Eliphaz he was. Sheba, when came al Eshet Aviv he entered into the wife of his father. El Aholivama, unto Aholivama, Eshet Isa, the wife of Isa. Right? So the key thing here is mamzer. See that mamzer? The translations say he was illegitimate. And I don't like that because there's a misunderstanding because the Goyim kind of hijack the translations, right? So they'll put illegitimate or a bastard in some of the older translations. There is no concept in the Torah of a bastard. You should know this. If any of you have grown up with the stigma, oh, my parents weren't married or something like this, look, marriage is important. Yeah, it's important. It's good. It's important for the children mostly. But if you have this stigma that you're a bastard or a bastardess or something, there's not even a word for this in Torah. There's no word for it because it just doesn't matter from the Lord's perspective. I don't mean that marriage doesn't matter. I mean for how he relates to children. He doesn't care whether the parents are married or not. He cares about the person itself. So to say illegitimate or a bastard, this is just injecting foreign cultural norms into the Bible, the norms of the church or something. Now in mamzer, this is something else. A mamzer, and again, it's not the person's fault, but that's a different issue. But a mamzer is someone who is born from an illegal union. For example, a brother and sister, or a father and daughter, right? Or a mother and son. Ugh, all these gross things, right? That's a mamzer. Even a child of rape is not a mamzer. You understand? A grape, I should say. Not a mamzer. A child of adultery is a mamzer. You see? So it's true, illegitimate in the point that cannot enter into the assembly of the Lord, cannot enter into the Beit HaMikdash, that kind of thing. Right? All right, let's continue. Yuledu, who they were birthed, lo for him, Eretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan. Verse 6. Vayikach Esau et Mashai. So Esau, I'm just going to go a bit faster now, took his wives, ve'et banai, and his children, his sons, ve'et benotai. See what I did there? So banai can mean his children or his sons. Right? The default is his children, like the Bnei Israel. The correct translation are the children of Israel, because that's us, or the Bani Israel, right? Like the Arabs say. That's us, right? It's not the sons of Israel. Right? Come on. But when you have that word, in contradistinction to benot, daughters, then you know to translate it sons, right? Remember last time I talked quite a bit about how nuancing is very important? Hebrew is very nuanced, so the context truly matters. So when I first was glossing, I saw it as his sons, but then I saw the next line, his daughters. So, I mean, instead of saying his children, I should have said his sons, ve'et benotav, and his daughters, ve'et kol nafshot beito, and all the lives of his house, right? All the people of his household. Ve'et miknehu, and his livestock. Ve'et kol behemto, and all of his beasts. Ve'et kol kinyano, all of his possessions, his movable possessions. Asher, which rachash, he amassed or he gained possession over. The Eretz Canaan, the land of Canaan. Vayeled, Vayelech. I saw that as a dalet, a little bit longer than a dalet. And he went El Eretz, to the land, Mipnei Yaakov, from before Jacob, Achiv, his brother. Verse 7. Ki hayah rechusham rab mishevet yachdav velo yachala Eretz migloihem laset otam mipnei mikneihem. Ki hayah rechusham, for their possessions were rav, great, mishevet yachdav, then more for dwelling together. So this is a mem of comparison. It means they were more numerous than for them to dwell together. Velo yachala, and were unable, and was unable. What was unable? Eretz, the land of migloihem, their sojourning, laseit, to hold, like to carry, to bear, otam, them, mipnei mikneihem, from the face of their livestock, or on account of their livestock. Okay, let's read from the Codex real quickly. Ve'aholivama yaleda et Yeish ve'et Ya'alam ve'et Korach, the mamzer. Eli b'nei Esau asher yuladu lo be'eretz Canaan. Verse 6. Vayikach Esau et Mashai ve'et Banai ve'et Banotai ve'et kol nafshot beto ve'et miknehu ve'et kol behemto ve'et kol kinyano asher rachash be'eretz Canaan. Vayelech el eretz mipnei Yaakov achiv. Verse 7. Ki haya rechusham rav mishevet yachdav velo yachala eretz migloihem laseit otam mipnei mikneihem. Sforno comments that the wealth of Esau and Yaakov together was too great for them to dwell side by side, echoing Avraham and Lot's separation. Right? Of course, Esau spiritually taking after Lot, and our ancestry, Yaakov, taking after Avraham. God chose well when he sent his mother the dream that he should be the firstborn. He should have the birthright and not Esau. Genesis chapter 36. Winding down with the Torah portion here. Do another stretch. Slap yourself in the face. Don't slap your spouse in the face. Don't do it. Chapter 36, verse 8. Vayeshev Esau b'har seir. Esau hu Edom. Vayeshev Esau. So Esau dwelled b'har seir, on Mount Seir. Esau hu Edom. Esau, that is Edom. In the Midrash Bereshit Rabbah 83, paragraph 2, we learn that Esau settles in Mount Seir, establishing Edom's identity apart from Israel. This foreshadows the enduring tension between the two nations. And I would just add, until eventually we took them over, invaded them, and kind of forced them to comply. That's how, of course, then we ended up with wicked King Herod, who was an Edomite. We know what he did to John the Baptist. Verse 9. Now these are the generations of, or the enlistments of Esau. Avi Edom, the father of Edom. Behar Seir, at Mount Seir. Verse 10. Eli Shemot b'nei Esau. These are the names of the children of Esau, or the sons of Esau. Eliphaz ben Ava, the son of Ava. Eshit Esau, the wife of Esau. Reuel, that guy, friend of God. That's a nice name. ben Bosmath, the son of Bosmath, Eshet Esau, the other wife of Esau. Verse 11. Vayihyu b'nei Eliphaz, and the children, or the sons of Eliphaz, were Teman, Omar, Tzipho, and Gotham. Gotham. If you just lose the doggers, it's Gotham. It's the Batman. Kenaz and Kenaz. V'thimna haita pilegesh Eliphaz ben Esau v'teled Eliphaz et Amalek. There he is. Boo. Ele b'nei Ava eshet Esau. Now, Thimna haita was. Wait. The Thimna haita pilegesh. Okay, now Thima was the Pilagesh, the kind of secondary wife, or the lower level wife, to Eliphaz. Ben Esau, the son of Esau. But Tailid, and she birthed Eliphaz for him, et Amalek, Ele b'nei Ada. These are the sons of Ada, Eshet Esau, the wife of Esau. Okay, let's read from the Codex. Genesis 36, verse 8, starting here, okay, guys? Oh, actually, I had another comment on Eliphaz, don't I? Let's see, did I add that there? Okay. Midrash Tanchuma Ki Teitze comments that Eliphaz, Esau's firstborn, becomes the ancestor of Amalek, showing how choices in lineage can lead to enduring Ava, that's enmity. There's some critical textual notes on the famous thing that better is open rebuke than hidden love. But you can see in the Hebrew how the ahava might have been ava, enmity, hidden enmity. So that's a very possible correct reading for that text. All right, let's read. Actually, I think I got the laser pointer. Vayeshev Esau b'har se'ir Esauhu Edom. Verse 9. Ve'eli toledot Esau avi Edom b'har se'ir. Verse 10. Ele Shemot b'nei Esau, Eliphaz ben Ada, Eshet Esau, Ve'oel ben Bosmath, Eshet Esau. Verse 11. Vayihyu b'nei Eliphaz, Teman, Omar, Tzefo, Ve'gatam, Ukenaz, Gatam. Sorry, verse 12. V'thimna haita filegesh le'Eliphaz ben Esau, v'telid le'Eliphaz et Amalek, Ele b'nei Ada eshet Esau. I think I said his name wrong up here. Eliphaz. Okay. Just two more slides up for the Torah, and there's a lot of names here. This will be pretty easy. Verse 13. Ve'eli b'nei Reuel. Now these are the sons of Reuel. Nachath, Vazerach, Shamma. What a funny name, Shamma. Umizah. Eli hayu b'nei Vosmath. These were the names of the sons of Vosmath. Eshet Esau, the wife of Esau. Verse 14. Ve'eli hayu. Now these were b'nei Aholivama, the sons of Aholivama. Bat Anna, the daughter of Anna. Sorry, I was thinking of Obama, so I couldn't get reading again. Aholibama, daughter of Obama. Bat Sivon, the daughter of Sivon. Eshet Esau, the wife of Esau. But Tailid, the Esau, that she birthed for Esau, et Yaish, et Ya'alam, et Korach. Ibn Ezra comments on Aholibama's sons, Yeush, Yalam, and Korach, that they are included to emphasize that even secondary wives contribute to the shaping of nations. Verse 15. Eli, Alufei v'nei Esau. These are the chiefs of the sons of Esau. V'nei Eliphaz, the sons of Eliphaz. Bechor Esau, the firstborn of Esau. Aluf, Teman, chief Teman. Aluf Omar, chief Omar. Aluf Tzefo, chief Tzefo. Aluf Kenaz, chief Kenaz. Verse 16. Aluf Korach, okay, the chief Korach, Aluf Gatam, Batman, sorry, Aluf Amalek, chief Amalek. These chiefs, Korach, Lotham, Gotham, and Amalek, highlight that Esau's descendants wield power, but Amalek's inclusion foreshadows perpetual conflict with Israel. See Midrash Tanchuma Kitetse 9. Consider how their possible descendants in this region continue to be bad actors to this day. All the problems we deal with, right? I mean, all this twisted morality, calling what is evil good and what is good evil, claiming that the land is theirs, even those who are far and wide, wanting to destroy us, lo aleinu. Ele, these are the Alufei Eliphaz, the chiefs of Eliphaz. Be'eretz Edom, in the land of Edom. Ele b'nei Ada. These are the sons of Ada. And from the Codex, b'nei Ada eshet Aisal ve'eli b'nei Reuel, Nachaf, Zerach, Shama, u'Mizah. Ele hayu b'nei Vosmath, eshet Aisal. Verse 14. Ve'eli hayu b'nei Aholivama, bat Adna, bat Tzivon, eshet Aisal. V'teled Aisal et Yaish, ve'et Ya'alam, ve'et Korach. Verse 15. Eli elufei v'nei Aisal, v'nei Eliphaz, b'chor Aisal. Aluf Timan, aluf Oma, aluf Tzefo, aluf Kenaz. Verse 16. Aluf Korach, aluf Gatham, aluf Amalek. Eli alufei Eliphaz, be'eretz Edom. Eli b'nei Rava. Last slide for the Torah today. Woohoo! You made it! You made it! You get a prize. Ve'ele b'nei Reuel ben Aisal, aluf Nachaf, aluf Zerach, aluf Shama, aluf Mizah. Ele alufei Reuel be'eretz Edom, Eli b'nei Vosmath, eshet Esau. Okay, now these are the sons of Reuel, the son of Esau, the chief Nachat, chief Zerach, chief Shama, chief Mizah. These are the chiefs of Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Vosmath, wife of Esau. Verse 18. Ve'ele b'nei Aholivama, eshet Esau, aluf Yarosh, aluf Ya'alam, aluf Korach. Ele alufei Aholivama, Badana eshet Esau. Sorry, I lost my tone there for a second. It just kind of seemed strange for me for this Tom to follow the other. Now these are the children, the sons of Aholivama, the wife of Esau, the chief Yarosh, chief Ya'alam, chief Korach. These are the chiefs of Aholivama, the daughter of Anna, the wife of Esau. Verse 19. Ele b'nei Esau, Eli alufeihem, hu Edom. These are the sons of Esau, and these are their chiefs. He is Edom. Let's read from the Codex. Ve'eli b'nei Reuel ben Esau, aluf Nachat, aluf Zerach, aluf Shama, aluf Mizah. Eli alufei Reuel be'eretz Edom. Eli b'nei Vosmath, eshet Esau. Verse 18. Ve'eli b'nei Aholivama, eshet Esau. Aluf Yarosh, aluf Ya'alam, aluf Korach. Eli alufei Aholivama, bat Anna, eshet Esau. Verse 19. Eli b'nei Esau ve'eli alufeihem, hu Edom. There we go. In case you're wondering, that vertical bar, this is a Rafa, showing that even though sometimes this letter has a dagesh, here we don't expect it, right? It's not a duh, it's a the. That's there for the ancient pronunciation. Of course, it's kind of meaningless today when we use the modern Israeli pronunciation. Okay, how'd you guys do? Woohoo! Woohoo! Time for the Haftarah, and this will be not long. I'm just going to do, I think, 7 verses from the Haftarah. So And it's pretty powerful, so stick around. I think you'll like it. So the ancient, I did have a comment. Kimchi comments on the Alufeihem, the chiefs of them. Their chiefs, as our sages remind us, these chiefs are kings in all but the crown. Their genealogy is recorded here out of respect for Isaac, just as the line of Ishmael is recorded out of respect for Avraham. And of course, the warning to the Israelites not to provoke them, Deuteronomy 2 verse 5, meant that they had to know which clans these were. This is Kimchi, also known as Radak, the Karasik translation. Haftarah, Isaiah chapter 43, verse 1. Ve'ata koam Adonai, so now, thus saith the Lord, or such said Adonai, Bo'alacha Yaakov, the one who created you, O Jacob, Ve'yotzercha Yisrael, and the one who formed you, O Israel. Al tira, do not be afraid. Sound familiar to what the midwife said? Al tiri'i, said to Rachel. Ki ga'alticha, for I have redeemed you. Karati, I have called. Veshimcha, by your name. Li, mine, are ata, are you. Isn't that nice? This is God speaking. You are mine, he tells us. Verse 2. Kita la'avo ba'mayim itecha ani. Ki, when ta'avo, you cross ba'mayim, into waters. You cross through waters. Seen as very dangerous, right? Especially you're bringing, for nomads like our ancestors were, right? Bringing everything you own through the water, right? If the water's too fast or rains too much, you could lose livestock. You could lose things. Something could fall down. You could slip and lose your footing. Someone could get hurt. Or you could lose, God forbid, a family member or a servant. Itecha, with you, Ani, am I. Annie's with you. Sister Annie's with you. No, just kidding. I am. Uva neharot lo yishtefucha. And amongst the neharot, the rivers, in the rivers, lo, not yishtefucha, they will not flood you away. They will not inundate you. This is where we get the noun shetef. Shetef mayim is a flood. Right? They won't flood over you. They won't overtake you. Ki teilech bemo. For walking, going through, bemo, in it, is eish, is a fire. Lo tikave, it will not kave. Meaning, it will not be burned or scorched. So you will not be burned or scorched. Sorry. So, ki telich. Sorry, let me adjust my translation. When telich, you walk bemo, into it. Into what? It's a very old word here, this bemo, very, very old. Eish, fire. When you walk through fire, usually we would say be'esh, but this is old and poetic. Bemo, eish. That's what kind of threw me. Lo tikave, you will not be burned. Tin kave became tikave. It's nifal. You won't be burned. Ve'lehava, and a flame, or even a flame, if this is vav emphaticum, lo, not tiv, will not burn. Bach, you. Verse 3. Ki ani Adonai Elohecha, for I am the Lord your God, or I, the Lord your God, am Kadosh Yisrael, the Holy One of Israel, the divine epithet. You can call him that when you pray sometimes. Oh, Kadosh Yisrael, ta'azena otano. Bi Adonai, tishlach matuchacha aleinu ve'al kol ha'amecha. Bi Abba, tishmorna et amecha. Ke'ishon ha'ayin. Please protect your people like the apple of your eye. Literally the little man in your eye, say in Hebrew. Oh, Kadosh Yisrael, Holy One of Israel. Moshiach, he will save you. He will rescue you. Natati, I have assigned, or I have placed, Kofrecha, your covering. Mitzrayim, Kush, Useba. Tachtecha, in place of you. Egypt, Kush would be what? Nubia, what's that? Ethiopia, and Seva, also in the area. Verse 4. Me'asher yakarta, from whom yakarta you have found precious, ve'enai, in my eyes. Nichbadta, you have been honored, or you are honored. Va'ani, and I myself, ahavticha, love you. This is God speaking. He could have just said ahavticha, but he's emphasizing with and I. You see that special emphasis in Hebrew. I myself love you. Actually, I'm going to mark that. It's called an emphatic pronoun. And the vav is probably also vav emphaticum. Indeed, I myself love you. Ve'etein, and I have assigned, or I will give Adam, a man or a person, tachtecha, in your place. Whoa. I think you guys see the strong undertone there. Uleumim, and peoples, tachet nafshecha, in place of your life. Verse 5. I'm singing the song Al Tira, don't you fear. Ki itecha ani, because with you I am. Mimizrach, from the east, Avi, I will bring. Za'echa, your offspring, your seed. Umi ma'arav, and from the west. La'akabetzeka, I will collect you. I will gather you. How fitting that the earliest settlements in Israel during this modern era are called kibbutzim. A kibbutz, from this verb. God saying, I will gather you. He's talking about what we've seen in this generation. He's brought us back from the east and from the west. Don't listen to some of the false teachers. Those aren't the real Jews, or they're not the real lineage. Or give me a break. How many DNA evidences do we need? I'm not saying that someone has to be descended from Jacob, literally in the DNA, to be part of Israel, but a lot of Israel is. God is true. Why make God into a liar just so you can promote your anti-Semitism? Drop the anti-Semitic tropes that we are Edomites or from the Khazars. There's no evidence of this. The evidence is all against you. We are his people, and he has kept us alive. Avi, I will bring Zarecha, your offspring, from Mimizrach, from the east, Mima'arav, and from the west. Hakabetzeka, I will gather you, I will collect you. And he sure has, into kibbutzim. They're even called kibbutzim. Verse 6. Oma latzafon, I will say to the north, Teini, give, uletheman, and to the east, al tichlai, do not restrain, do not hold back, meaning my people. Havi, I bring, I cause to arrive, vanai, my sons, my children, meherachok, from afar, uvenotai, and my daughters, Miksei haaretz, from the ends of the world. Kol hanikra vishmi, all who are called by my name. And I think Doug had it right. This is Yod-Heh, Waw-Heh, and it's also his reputation. V'lichvodi, and for my honor, for my glory. B'rativ, I created him. Yitzartiv. This is for the peoples to know about Israel. He's saying, I created him. This word bara is only ever used by God. So enough of the Edomite theories. God's saying, I'll bring them back. He's not saying, I'll bring back the descendants of Esau. Give me a break. How obtuse must you be? Barati, I created Eve, him. Yitzartiv, I formed him. Af, even, Asitiv, I made him. Hallelujah. Let every man be a liar, but our God be true. He is faithful to the covenant, and he has brought his people home. And if you want to be part of that, you don't need to tear down the achievements and the accomplishments of God in honoring his word and his promise, which can be the same thing. A davar can be a promise. just like in Imra. Instead, join us. Don't try to declare us as illegitimate or something. Join us. Why fight against all the evidences that it's true what he has done? Why look under every rock and pebble? Ooh, where are the real Jews? Dark. We are the real Jews. And you can be too. You can join us. Activate Ephesians chapter 2. Read it. Read it many times. And let the Spirit speak to you. All right, friends. What's our lekach today? Renewal and identity. Perfect for the season of Hanukkah. Today is still Hanukkah. Woo! Festival of dedication or renewal. Festival of lights. Like Jacob, we are reshaped through struggle. But Yeshayahu, Isaiah, reminds us we are named and claimed by God. He calls us Bishmecha, by your name. He says, Barativ, I created him. Tzarativ, I formed him. Asitiv, I made him. 3 invocations to make it perfectly clear. Yes, others have joined us. That's great. But you cannot promise Abraham that his seed, a physical thing, will inherit the earth, that his seed will be as countless as the sands, and then say, oops, what I meant was a bunch of adopted people and not your seed. No, you can adopt people. People can join. But you need that continuous thing there as well. And the people eventually become part of the greater nation. And then nobody thinks about 5 generations ago, when you have so many offspring that are part of Israel, wait, are they real Jews or not? They've already joined. Each of us and our destinies are named and claimed by God. If you serve the God of Israel, that is you. Suffering and presence. Rachel's pain and Isaiah's waters both teach that hardship is real. But Ha-Elohim is present in it. Find him in your suffering. Find him in your struggles. Find him in your poverty. Find him in your pain. Find him in your illness. Lo alechem, may it not be that you have those things, but if they do occur, try to see where he is in those things. Have the right state of mind, have the right understanding of his presence. Memory and worth. Jacob's pillars preserve covenant memory. Isaiah affirms, we are precious. Yakar. Yod Kufresh. We are precious in God's sight. Yakar. Choices and destiny. Our Esau's lineage choices ripple into history. We're still dealing with these problems, even if the enemies of Israel who surround us are not. Even if it's just a drop in the DNA, right? A drop, because all the people that were there that mixed, right? There was no protecting Esau's line and all that stuff. But still, there's something there. Surely something has survived. I mean, there's people now that wish to be identified as the peoples, the Aegean peoples, who we had to deal with, the Philistines of old. They want that name on their stuff. They want that spiritual identity as the ancient Avat Yisrael, the ancient enmity of Israel. They want it for some reason. They want to forge a new identity, though they are Jordanians and Egyptians mostly. Did you know the most popular name in Gaza? Last name is Al-Masri. Pardon me, Al-Masri. I Hebraicized it. Which in Hebrew would be Ha-Mitzri, the Egyptian. They're trying to form a new people, a new ethnicity. There is a Palestinian state. It's called Jordan. And it's got roughly the same percentage of the people there who are, quote, Palestinians, as Israel has Jews. So there's a Jewish state and there's a Jordanian state. I mean, a Palestinian state already. Esau's lineage choices continue to ripple into history. Isaiah calls us to live for God's kavod, glory, shaping a different legacy. אין לנו כהן, אין לנו לוי פה. עכשיו אעשה את הברכה הזאת אחרי צדק אחרי צדק, כי יש לנו כהן בשמיים ממעל, ישוע שמו. יבורכך אדוני וישמרך, יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך, יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך shalom. Shavua Tov. Have an excellent week ahead. I look forward to seeing you at our auditory learning for Judges on Monday. Until then, be blessed. I will see you later.